Welcome. I haven't done a reading where I kind of want to just talk about something or just speak about it, but having a revelation a while ago about, here's me, me being your guide, you could say, being your Appa. Yip yip. Here we go. How do I say this? 1.1 of the percentage. The collective unconscious. The collective unconscious of humanity. Having that as a revelation, and about 10 minutes ago, seeing that in Fire Force Season 3, a very, how do I say this, a very divinely inspired story that if you guys watch, you will understand. You can watch the third season alone if you want to. With this character talking about the uncollective, how do I say this, the collective unconscious of humanity. And that being a very important thing. Yeah. This is like a blessing. Keeping the collective unconscious focusing on blessings and hope and faith. Building, you could say, that mountain of faith. Building that faith within you that this is truly the world, you could say, like the timeline of heaven. Confirmation burp. Getting like a really like keep going kind of vibe here from Spirit. So gather round my tiny Sederes. Yeah. Being the slime. Being again the one that devours the dogma. Helping everyone feel one collectively as an unconscious. And like that's what we're doing on this channel. Building a perfect collective unconscious that can actually, how do I say this, move mountains spiritually. Like we are creating heaven here spiritually together. This beautiful family, even you could say. Boom. I'm being Mina for you guys. Really bringing, how do I say this, bringing the defense force factor. Yeah, bringing the shadow monarch factor. Again, telling the shadows to arise, telling your past to arise, and putting light in everything. You can think of some people as literal shadows. Just as, how do I say this, like Jinwoo, you could say killing an ego when it comes to Iron. I think it was Iron. When, how do I say this, that ego came at him and Jinwoo literally just smoked him. Full on smoked him. Like didn't have that guilt about it, right? He was the one that ego was the one trying to kill, you could say. And you took it out and told that person to arise. And they did. They rose. Like they rose from the dead. They rose from the dead. And like you were the one that killed them. You were the one that took out that ego. And your words were the light. Your words, your presence was the light. Yeah. You were the Christ. You were the Christ in that situation. And Jinwoo, very Christ-like, you could say. Again, being the light. Being the light. There's a secret for you right there. Being the light. Telling the shadows to arise and, how do I say this, instilling light into everything. Boom. Here and keep talking. Here and keep talking for sure. You are the player. You are the phoenix. You are the dragon. You are the father. You are the mother. You are the daughter. You are the son. You are the spirit. You are everything. You are everything. And if you're willing to become nothing, God will become you. That's how it happens, you could say. If you're willing to become nothing, God will become you. But I was, in the last reading talking about that story, but in really being a dragon that devours the dogma here, kind of some people not being able to exhaust themselves to become the avatar. They're not like willing to exhaust the self, right? They've never done that before. You have. I'm not saying to do that, like you don't have to do that anymore. You have fully awakened to your true self, to the Christ within you, to being love, to being light. You have awakened. You have done all the work to be able to say, I don't need to change. Pardon me. Don't need to change. You, how do I say this? Yeah. Like you've healed all the parts of you that need to be healed for you to be the avatar, for you to be the shadow monarch, the player, the phoenix, the dragon that devours the dogma. You have, like, you know, again, you have gone through the process of being that. And some people have never exhausted their self a single time, and that's why we talked about it before, like a reading, like pretty far back. But some people never, like, having the same ego since they were 5, since they were like 10, 15, any age, and like, again, like, not exhausting that self a single time. And if, you know, for the people that have really, you could say, had to, like, you know, start from zero, you could say, like, for the, you know, for the ReZero fans, for the real Subarus out there that became Reinhardt, you have had to, like, start over from literally nothing, from scratch. Like, you have exhausted yourself. You had, you know, like, terminated that ego, you could say. Let that sleeping dog lie. And you rose as a phoenix, as an angel, as, you know, how do I say this? Like, you know, I've been, you know, seeing so many, you could say, like, recollections, not even revelations. It's like we're just remembering about Red and Blue. Thinking of Death Note, Light Yagami and L, Kill la Kill, Satsuki, Yuko and Satsuki. There's so many more examples. Again, like, you know, we're told how it really is. Like Blue being that, like, you know, all-encompassing ability. That ability to be omnipotent, that ability to be, you know, again, like, one with God, and God is everything, Spirit is everything, so you are everything. You're able to love everything, not see anything as evil, and if you do, it's like righteous judgment. It's like divine, you know, like, how do I say it? Like divine judgment. It's like true judgment. And, you know, like, you have, like, that's the thing, like, if you come across that, you have become so strong, you could say, spiritually, that there's nothing that you could say that you looked upon within your life and said that didn't make me into who I am today. And that's how you see everyone on that path, right? That eventually God will take them by the face and say, come with me, my child. I've been waiting for you to notice me. Not in the book, not in that church, not in, you know, like, if anything, like a 3 a.m. parking lot of, like, Wendy's or something, like, on a, like, a weird night, and a shooting star goes by, a meteor goes by. I could give a testimony of being in the woods and, you know, imagine, like, you could say, like, Spirit asking the Father, you could say, right? Of, like, I know you, like, can you just show me you're there? In a strange, you know, like, a strange, like, day, you could say, a strange part of the timeline of just, like, for no reason, on this, like, narrow trail, like it was Lord of the Rings, on this, like, let's say, like, the ridge, right? And, like, you're on that trail. And I remember, like, saying, like, can you just, like, show me you're there? And then I was thinking about SW. Thinking about, like, my love. Thinking about love and how, like, I'm the luckiest being in the universe to have her. And, like, in tears about it. And then out of the corner of my left eye, the entire sky lights up. And it's the brightest meteor I've ever seen. The brightest flash of light appear in the sky, encompass it, like my entire left eye, and then dissipate out into the sky into nothing. Amid 30 seconds after I, you know, asked for no reason. Like God asking to show God, can you show me you're there, God? Kind of thing. It's like that revelation. And you can imagine how, like, you know, how beautiful of a sign that is, right? And you go through stuff like that. You experience stuff like that. If anything, like, you are stuff like that. You are that miracle. You are that, like, exactly what someone needed to see to find God, to know God is there. You as this, you know, beautiful maxima sorcerer of love and light and shadow. Like light and shadow gilded in flame, gilded in gold. You have been in the forge. You have done the shadow work, done the light work, even saved people. Like saved people, and God will tell you one day, you literally saved that person. If anything, like you saved their soul even, right? Like that kind of, you know, being a savior. You did that. So keep believing everyone to, you know, being on that path, and you're the one creating the path. Like again, you're the dragon that is devouring any dogma in the path of truly finding God, of truly rising and truly feeling the blessings, truly becoming the player, becoming the shadow monarch. And, you know, you're not afraid of being the shadow monarch. Like, does Jinwoo, like, you know, seem like a full shadow? No, if anything, it's like a very bright light in that world. And that aura is extremely bright, right? Even even when it gets purple later on in the series. But what does he start to do? Starts dressing up as all black, you could say. It's like, again, being the void. Like, I see so much symbolism of being the void. And that is when you are truly your highest self. And again, like, red and blue, having to mix those two to become that purple self. Like, you're not afraid of being the shadow monarch that is the light of the world. The shadow monarch, not the light monarch, the shadow monarch, the assassin. The assassin, the player, the hunter, the S-rank hunter that doesn't stay S-rank. That gets stronger with every single battle. Every single battle. What an autumn. You broke the chains such a long time ago. Like, wow, what a cool 2 cards to see. You broke the chains of, like, the false heaven, you could say. Like, thinking that it's some, like, far off place. And, in the Gospel of Thomas, Christ saying, if you think heaven is in the sky, the birds will precede you. If you think it's in the water, the fish will precede you. They will be in heaven first. You have heaven within you. You are heaven. You broke your own chains. Like, Christ being the breaker of chains, you broke your own chains and became Christ, you could say, became the Messiah. Like, bringing love into this world, being the Messiah of love. Being the, how do I say this? Let me, we'll distract him 1 second. Easy fix. But again, you breaking out of that mindset of heaven being a prison, right? Like, heaven having, like, a set of rules. If anything, like, I've laughed myself going to bed of saying, like, there's no laws. Like, laughing with, like, joking with God about something that, it's like nothing bad. It's more of just like, I could be better today kind of thing. It's like, but there's no laws. Like, and it's like, that's the thing. Heaven does not have a rule set. Heaven does not have, like, a set of rules that, like, you need to follow for you to get there. You decide you're in heaven. You break the chains of, you could say, like, the cuffs, right? Like, of spiritual poverty, of not thinking you can have heaven every day. You can, build heaven every day. You can build your own heaven every single day. And again, like, you don't think it's in the sky. You don't think it's in the water somewhere, right? It's like, you understand that it's right here. You understand that it's not some far off place. It's not some far off place. It's a place that you, like, stand atop in a mountain of faith, on a mountain of faith in heaven. Again, like, being at such a high frequency that nothing that is, like, in the lower frequencies of the spiritual realm can even, like, get to you if they, like, ever wanted to in a million lifetimes. You are that kind of being. Card confirmation. You are that kind of being. But you will have to, experience, right? Like, how do I say this? Humans that haven't, that won't let themselves awaken to being one of God's children, aka a child of God, a god, a goddess. If anything, someone that is being built up to be the father, to be the mother, even greater as Christ was. Someone from a while ago commenting about that, Christ being raised to be greater than the Father. And Christ is our Father now, and we are being raised to be greater than Christ. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's not like, again, that's not like blasphemy. That's not saying you're going to be greater than God. If anything, God would want you to be greater than God in love, in being the light, and even, like, again, being the player. Like, that is, like, being the shadow monarch truly is being the player, being the vessel for spirit. Most of all, the vessel. And that is, like, pure intuition right there. That's pure, again, shadow, like, sorcery right there. That's, like, real magic words, you could say. And again, like, magic is something you draw, even like a card. Like, that, funny enough, like, again, like, you can imagine me thinking of Heart of the Cards, Yu-Gi-Oh. Magic is something you draw in this new series. It's like an Atelier. Here it is. 1 second. No, that's not it. I will put the link for it in the description. But basically, it being about this girl who has never, how do I say this? Like, as a kid, she came across, like, a real witch, like a real mage, and like, they basically, like, did this spell where, like, wherever she walks, it, like, lit up the ground. And then her mom, like, she's so excited, has this new, like, grimoire, basically. She's so excited, and she walks up the stairs, and her mom is, there, and she's like so happy, like, Mom, like, look, I'm gonna be a witch that changes the world one day. Like, I'm gonna change this world. I'm gonna be the light for this world. And her mom says, well, like, you can't. It's like, only chosen, people can be that. It's like, humans, they just don't stand the chance. They don't hold a candle to, like, you would say, like real magic, real magicians. But as someone said in the comments, everything in this life is magic. Everything, even like pancakes, right? Like, heck yeah, like Lloyd would tell you, hold on. But on the way back from this walk, right, the mom says, if that light still is in your feet by the time we get home, then you can be a witch. Like, then you're gonna be a witch, right? And on the way home, it cuts to like her just like walking with her, with her book, like, have total frown on her face now because she's looking down, and the light's not in her feet anymore. She's not walking like with the light anymore, right? And who did that? Like, if anything, like, she could have even became like that magical being in that moment if that mom didn't tell you, no, you can't. No, you can't. That's what you might experience. Even someone like very close to you that like you almost like have to listen to, or at the very best, at the very least, I say, had to listen to. And like if you don't have to listen to those people anymore, like consider yourself lucky, because never let the light leave those footsteps. Wherever you walk, wherever you walk, you are the light. Thank you all for being here. I love you so much. Please have a great day. That was awesome.